Very good morning. I have a demo of the Oracle OAF Training, and having 11 plus years of experience in Oracle apps in RiseW components with OAF. I have worked in many different projects like implementations, upgradations, support project, where I have built the OAF pages from scratch as per the client requirement, and as well worked on the personalizations and customizations on seeded pages. Present working as a team lead in one of the MNC company in India. This is my introductions. Let's start the demo. In this demo, we have go to the scope of the demo, like introduction to OAF, MVS architecture or onion architecture of OAF, and basics of BC4J. BC4J components. BC4J means business components for Java. So what are the business components for Java? We'll discuss, and difference between the ADF and OAF and forms. Setting up the JDeveloper tool, how we can set up and how we can download, and what are the naming structure of the folder and naming conversions, how the folder structures will be there in the JDeveloper, and we'll build a hello world page as well as the personalizations and extensions. So the course content, the course outline will we'll have introductions to Oracle applications and OAF as well. MVS architecture will have some Java basics and sample exercises on Java basics, and we'll have a real-time project on the custom modules. At the same time, real-time validations, like for example, if you have any custom seeded pages, in the custom seeded pages, I will show you how we'll take the validations on OAF page. And at the same time, we'll do the OAF personalizations, extensions. We have the control extensions and AM extensions and other extensions. So how we'll do the extensions in the seeded pages, or from scratch we can go through these extensions in OAF. By using JDeveloper tool, this can be achieved. This can be discussed in the course. At the same time, we'll do a real-time project on OAF extensions and personalizations. So I'll show you real-time how we can personalize the OAF, like how we can extend in the real time, and what are the components we need to do, how we can do it. That can be explained in the course, and everything after developing all the OAF structures or all the OAF pages. We need to deploy the object. We need to deploy our OAF objects into the server so that it can be affected in the Oracle application pages. So that can be called as a deployment. So I will show you how we can deploy the OAF pages from scratch, and also if we do some extensions or personalizations, if that personalizations also be to be deployed in the server. So for that part can be discussed in this OAF deployment. In this deployment, I will show you the scratch pages, how we can deploy, as well as the seeded pages. If you do any extensions or personalizations, how we can deploy. In two types of deployments can be seen here. And the next part is like we have a partial page rendering. So how we can implement in the partial page rendering OAF, we can see that. And OAF State Management, OAF advanced exercises we can do. Advanced exercise, it will cover some PBR, spell, and other properties of the items and regions. Everything can be seen in advanced exercises. We'll have some advanced exercises here, as well as we'll have performance tuning, applications menus, and function security in OAF. So once OAF page was developed, and it is synced with the menus and functions. So how it can be look, or in which menu it should be, under which menu this OAF page should be open, that can be implemented here. Like that can be shown in the application menus and function security in OAF. And next is implementation, internalization in OAF, deploying OAF framework application, and finally we have interview questions and answers. We have mock interviews and other stuff also. I'll share. We have other materials where you can have refer that material, which can be helpful for your interviews. So in real-time project, we'll have two projects. We'll do two projects here. One is employee module, like we'll create one employee module. So by using JDeveloper tool from scratch, so that you can understand what are the tools or what are the business components we'll use there, as well as what are the regions and what are the items we'll use there, and what are the controllers and what code we have to write in the controller. Everything can be explained in this project. And as per business requirement, we need to install eBusiness Suite R12 in your systems. And brief descriptions about this is like we will going to develop an employee model using this application, like using this tool JDeveloper IDE, which consists of touch, like we'll create a search page and a create page. At the same time, we'll update the options for the employee record. For example, if you are going to find out a employee name like XXABC, so you will search for the XXABC and click on go. When click on the go, you will get the details of the that employee, and you need to modify something mobile number for that employee. So how we can do that? That update options can be recorded, can be explained in this project. Also, that update page will be done, search page will be done. At the same time, creation of the employee records can be done. So once you created the employee records, so those records are those records are saved in the databases, and how that databases is retrieving the record and showing the OAF pages. So how we can search that, and what are the components we need to develop. At the same time, what are the coding part we have to write, and how we can achieve this business requirement can be explained in this project. And as well as we are going to switch the list, like we have many different regions, like LOVs we have, pop list we have, and simple text we have, message text we have, and all other different styles of text messages are there. Different types of items are there. So in OAF, these fields are called as items, and in that item, to create that item, we need a regions. So what are the regions we need to create in this project, and how we will achieve this requirement? Everything can be explained here. And we have many more. Like if we start this project, we can we can do many different types of projects or different types of business requirement. Based on the business requirement, we can do many things. OAF is having that much feasibility. And other project, second project, will go for the workflow. So here we'll introduce the workflow. So to achieve this, we need eBusiness Suite R12 installed, as well as the workflow tool. So in this project, what we'll run, so once the employee or any manager is approved for that employee, so one notification should be sent to the hierarchies. So that can be achieved through workflow. So that there's the approval notifications, and once the approval is done, it will return the notification to the employee. So these things, how a notifications can be sent, and how return notifications can be sent through employee to manager and manager to employee, those workflows can be done in this project through OAF. So in the front end, we can see only the application module. The back end, what we need to do, we need to do the workflow, and workflow should be implemented in the OAF. That part, how we can call the OAF modules, and how we can maintain this notifications hierarchies, everything can be handled in this project. So that can be explained in this project. So these are the two projects we are going to do. And lab setup, coming to the lab setup, everyone should have like a high speed internet. We need a desktop or a laptop. And for the desktop and laptop, we have the system requirement is like a minimum system requirement is it should be a Microsoft Windows 7 or above. Like I think nowadays we are using Windows 10, so that can be a better option if we have a Windows 10. And at the same time, we'll have a hard disk of the a minimum of 500 GB hard disk, and the memory should be 16 GB. So why 16 GB means like 8 GB, in 8 GB almost all 4 GB will be gone for the OS, and other 4 GB for the EBS suite to be implemented. So there will not be a space for the if we have a 8 GB. So if we have a 16 GB, then that will be the system performance will be good, and what are the projects, what are the ABS suites, applications, and OAF, what we are doing. It will be very good for us to be implemented, and it will be very smooth for us. So there will be no hanging and no will be no other issues. So for that we are requiring to be in a memory of 16 GB. Yeah, CPU is a 4 core or Intel core of i5 or anything is fine. So installations, like we need to install this EBS suite R12 install with OAF as well as the workflow. So this can be installed. Nowadays we can find in Metalink, or we can download from the Google, or if I have, I'll provide the demo versions of this EBS suite. This is a lab setup, and we have you can use 24/7 details. And coming to the additional courses, like we'll providing some additional detailed PDF material where you can you can go through this material and you can have this material. Like this material can be useful for your interviews as well as your understanding. So the in-depth material, each and every items, regions, and each and every project also be explained in a very detailed manner. So once you got this material, I am sure like you can easily attend any interview and you can start the interview. So I can provide the most frequently asked interview questions. So what are the questions can be asked in an interview, and how you can answer it. All those can be covered. At the same time, sample resumes, sample resumes can be provided to you to start the interviews. Yeah, mock interviews, like I already said, mock interviews can be connected. So once the course is completed, once we have completed all the courses and all the project work, at the last we'll have the mock interviews. Like I or other mind is senior persons can be taken, or any other person can be taken to our HR team will take care of these things. So a sample mock interview where to just understand what is the knowledge gap between you, and we can understand what is the knowledge gap. This can be conducted, and we have mock interviews here. And then going to other slide. Yeah, course completions. After completing this course, the course completion certificate can be achieved. Yeah, as we discussed, like what is OAF first exactly. While coming to the OAF definition, OAF is nothing but an Oracle application framework where it was developed by an Oracle corporation and which can be used in Oracle e-business suite only. So in other environmental, this cannot be used. OAF is only used within the Oracle e-business suite. And OAF stands for an approach for building the or launching the web pages. In upgrading versions in R12 EBS suite, all the forms are converted into OAF pages. So these to develop these web pages, we need this tool. At the same time, these pages can be used mobile applications and mobile things also. So wherever you go, you can access these pages. That's the benefit of this OAF. And the framework look and feel will be also very, very, very good comparing to the forms, and we have very feasibility, and we can edit what the business as per the business requirement, we can edit whatever you can. It is very easy to learn as well as very easy to edit it. And coming to the technologies, like OAF technology has a very, very, very great scope in current market. As Oracle declared, this ERP support will be till 2040. So 2040, up to 2040, this application will be there. As long as the ERP will be there, as long as this EBS business is running, so OAF will have that much demand. So that's a great news. And till ERP exists, OAF exists. So no, don't need to worry. And we have a huge demand in the market for the jobs and applications. So many customers are using now in R12 upgraded versions. So that's a great news, and we have a great demand for this OAF. Once you learn this OAF, you can easily demand in the market. Like you will be like you will be great demand. Like you can for a fresher you can demand for the 15 lakhs package. So and you will have a great demand for the on-site offers also. So now at present the market is most of the customers, Oracle ERP customers are using R12, in which most of the screens are replaced with OAF technologies. So there will be a good demand for the support, enhancement, and custom applications. So that's the demand of OAF. And you cannot find the people in the market of the who have the technologies of the OAF. It is very rare. So imagine how much demand you will have once you run this OAF. So it is very easy to learn. Once you have hands-on experiences of the OAF, it is very easy to learn the ADF also. ADF technologies which can be used in the Fusion applications. So that's it. So in this, as we discussed, ADF and OAF both is having MVS architecture. Like what is called MVS architecture? MVS architecture is like model view controller. So OAF is designed by the simple model view controller architecture design. But model will have some components where it will be interact with the database structures, and from the database structures to the controller, and to controller it will give the view. View is nothing but a user interface where you have the final applications. You can see the page, which is the output of the controller is called the view. So in this view model, the output of the user interface, which is we are seeing output of the page, is called the view. So the view is totally controlled by the controller. So how the look and feel should be there, and what fields should be displayed in the pages, and once click on some buttons or some events, so what action should be taken care, everything can be controlled in the controller. And model, we have the entity objects, view objects, and application module. So these comes under the model. So we'll discuss each and different things in a detailed way. So model is where the application implements in business logic. All the BC4 components in OAF comes under model, like application module, which will be called as AM, view object. This comes under is also model, and entity objects where all the database structures like seeded pages or where we can perform the DML operations comes under the entity objects. View link will comes under model, as well as the association objects. View link and association objects we not use that much, but we will have a knowledge on that one. Maximum we will use an AM, VO, and EO objects. So what is EO? EO is an entity object which is represented a database of a row table. So whatever the table, what are the database objects? If you create any view or any synonym or any table, those objects can be saved in the entity objects. So database objects can be controlled by the entity objects. So what are the DML operations? The create, update, delete. These called are the DML operations. These operations can be controlled or can be involved in the entity objects. So any updations, as we discussed, like we are going to do one project. In that project, we will create a page of employee, and we'll search it and we'll update it. So the update is comes under the DML operations. Create will comes under the DML operations, as well as if you want to delete any record from the pages, that comes under the DML operations. So all the DML operations can be performed under these entity objects. So these objects, once we have created, these objects can be named. The naming conversion should be like XX, ABC, EO objects. So all the objects will be ended with the .EO. So EO should will have some attributes. What are the tables? Once we created the base tables, which we are using as a EO object, so those objects mandatory should have the who columns. So what are the who columns? Who columns can be like creation date, created by last updated date, last updated by last updated log. These columns are called as the EO objects. So once we need to be careful, like once we are creating the EO objects or the database objects, these fields or these columns should be mandatory while creating the table or the view. And these components, entity components, can be ended. I mean, the folder structure of these entity objects and all the EO objects can be found under like XX Oracle Lab. What are the module we are using? Those module can be here. So if we are working on the FND can be here. If we are working on the GL, attribute should be here, like that. For to identify easily, we need to give this name, and after that the component, the schema.server should be there. Schema.server, under the schema.servers, EO object should be present. This is the folder structure of the EO. Coming to the next slide, we are discussing about the view objects. See, these VO objects are like SQL queries. So all the SQL queries covered in the VO objects. Like we have two types of VO. One is EO based VO. So the VO which is dependent on the entity objects can be called as a EO based VO. And a simple VO like a dummy VO. A simple VO can give a sample query. The SQL query, you need to search something so that that query can be handled by the VO objects. So VO objects are used when we want some data to be displayed on the page. So in the search page, maximum VO objects can be used. So you want to search some employee number and employee details. By giving the employee number, those details can be displayed in the page by using this VO. So basically we'll write one query, SQL query, and that query with some parameter by passing the employee number, and we are getting the details of the employee of the particular parameter of the particular employee. So this query can be handled or can be put in the VO objects, and this is linked with the AM, and from the AM it will come to the page. So the output will be like once you are searching with an employee number, you want to search some XXABC employee, and you have type in the XXABC employee number there and click on the go button. All the details of the XXABC will be displayed. So that can be handled with the VO object, which is the sync with the controller as well as the EO objects. So VO objects are used just for displaying purpose, and VO objects access the result set of a SQL statement. It can be either based on the entity object or a plain SQL. So we already discussed like VO are the two types, like it's a dummy VO, it's a plain VO or dummy VO, and one thing is entity based on the entity objects. And these objects are end with the VO. The naming should be like XXABC should be there. It should be ended with VO. The custom or the seeded, the custom name should be starting, and the ending should be like VO. After the name, the ending should be like VO with the caps letter. And the folder structure of this VO should be like Oracle apps GL component dot server. So as you just observe, entity object should be in a schema dot server. VO object should be in a server, as well as AM object should be in a server. We'll go to the AM object now. Like application module, AM is nothing but a application module. It is very important thing where it will acts like a bridge between the VO and the controller. Without this AM, we can't we can't build a page. We can't access the EO objects or VO objects. So what are the things are there, like EO, VO are should be linked with the AM as well as the controller. So without AM, we cannot create a controller, or we cannot create a page. So this is very important component of the MVC module. Like and every Oracle application framework should be attached to the some application module. That's what I'm saying. It is interface between the client transaction and database objects, right? Client transactions means what are the applications the client is providing. It should be it should be it is acting like a bridge between these things, database transaction and client transactions. And all the AM objects should be ended with caps AM, and these AM communicate with the controllers and VOs, as already we have discussed. And this package, like I already explained, VO and AM should be in the same server folder. This is the folder structure. Like we'll go xx dot oracle dot apps dot gl dot comp dot server. It's very basic example I have taken, but all other once we are going to create these AMs or VOs, we are familiar with this structure, how we can follow this structure. The standard thing is EO should be in a schema.server folder, and VO AM should be in the server folder. And coming to the other slide where we'll write the code, actually Java code to handle the page or to do any actions, everything can be controlled in the controller. So this controller will take care of the web browser activities. The controller manages the flow between the pages. So once you click on the go button or click on any event on the page, so what action should be taken care or what action should be displayed in the pages, those things, everything can be written or controlled by the controller. So controller responds to the user actions and direct application flow. Control is a simple Java class file that contains methods for initial page request and post back request. So all the controllers will be ended with the CO, and these controllers are to be saved or to be in a web UI folder. As we discussed, like EO should be in a schema.server, VO and AM should be in a server folder, and controller should be in a web folder. And in this controller, we have the three different methods like process request, process form request, and process form data. So what are these? So process request and process form request we can see in the controller in the coding thing. Process form data is we can't see in the controller, or we can't see while coding it. It's a default thing. It can be controlled by a application in the backend. So we no need to worry about the process form data. The code written in only in the process request and process form request. So what is process request? So process request is a phase invoked on page load. See, for example, when you are loading a page or when you are clicking an URL. For example, we have a Gmail account, and while logging into the Gmail account, we will click on the URL. It will navigate to the Gmail account. Navigate to the Gmail account. While navigating to that URL or while navigating to that any page, you can observe that it will take some time to load that page. So to load that page, it is taking some time means some backend code is running. Some backend code is running like to handle that page, to handle that loading of the page. That code can be written in the process request. Like this can be like while displaying on the page, while displaying to the user what field should be displayed and how the look and feel should be there, everything can be handled on this process request. So in some pages, like you can observe, like when click on some page, automatically by default some data will be displayed. In some page, once you enter something and click on go button or something submit button, then you can display that page. So these types of coding or these types of logic can be handled in the process request. So by default, it contains an OAF page context and OAF bean class. So super process request, which is having this page context and web bean methods. So these method by briefly can be explained in the actual classes. As this is the demo, I'm just going to the slide. Okay, page load. If you want to display the data, you will write the code in the process request. That's all you need to understand. And coming to the process form request, this is where after loading the page or any event can be performed. Like if you click on the go button, so if you click on the go button or click on the submit button or any event, you click on the page, the action part you are doing on the page, so that action part can be controlled by a process form request. The actual code should be written in the process form request. So after page opens, if you want to handle any event like submit or any next button, we'll write the code in the process form request. As we discussed, like process form data, this files by the system. We no need to worry about this, and we are not going to touch this process form data because this is a file system and it will be handled by the application itself. Yeah, view. I think view is the XML format where this called as a user interface. It will be in XML format, and that can be visible to a user. So what are the output of the OAF or output of the page is nothing but a view. So when deploying to our systems or server, we load this XML file into MDS repository using XML import statements. And after that, we will fetch the MDS repository and it's converted into the XML file, and then it will go to the MDS engines. So these views can be in the server part. So this is what the view is. So, and coming to the onion structure, the actually MVC structure, how flow of this model view controller can be explained in this slide. Like this structure, MVC structure or onion structure, we'll call this an onion structure because once you cut the onion, how it will look in the same way, this structure will be there. So there will be a pull and push model here. data flow will be in a push type and data flow will be in a pull type. Both can be achieved in the onion structure. The basically you can need to understand the controller can be controlled by an application module, but application module cannot be a sync with the controller. Like application module cannot control by a controller. We can use the application module by controller, and application module can be used a view object. View object can be used by entity objects, but entity object cannot be used by view objects. That's what we need to understand. Entity objects can be again depend on the database objects. So how the data flow means, so from the database, so the whatever the table or whatever the view we are creating in the database in the SQL server, those SQL or those queries or those database objects can be handled to the entity objects. And we already discussed we have two types of view. One is VO and one is EO based view. VO can be used to fetch the data. So that is depend on the entity object. Through entity objects, it will take the data and it will handle in the SQL query, that is VO. So all the entity objects and VO are to be synced with the application module. Without application module, and controller also should be in the application module. Without application module, we cannot run or we cannot use the page. We cannot run the application. We cannot run the application pages. So application module is very important. So these objects are handled or put it in the application module. So based on this application module, that can be used in the controller. So how this will be there, but inside data it will not be applied. Like controller cannot be used with the application, but application can be used in the controller. That's what I'm saying. So OAF can be extracted into series of config layers, like as the onion. Each layers only knows about the layer above. That's it. Each layers only knows about the layer below it. Controller cannot be involved in the view objects or entity objects or any database objects. As well as application modulars cannot be involved in the entity objects, the database. It will know only the one layer of the below of the view objects. That's it. So this is how the onion structure will be there and how the OAF flow will be controlled. And coming to the next size, like to develop a single page, we have many different types of regions and items. So region means like in the region we'll use items to create an item. Item means nothing but a field. So you want a date field, or you want a search field, or you want a LOE, or you want a pop list, or you want any text field, or any different types of fields are used in a region. Without region, you cannot directly create an item. So this is the combination of regions and items, and we have many different types of regions. For example, advanced table region can be created. Cell format is there. Default double column, single column, flow layout is there. Footer can be handled. Header region is there. No height grade. No height grade. Height grade is you can in some pages you can while displaying the pages there will be some plus and minus minus mark in the pages. So by clicking on the plus, other regions will be displayed. Once you don't want to display it and you click on it, it will go as in the minus. So these regions can be handled in the height show header and height show regions. Message component layout region is there. Navigation bar are there. Page button bars are there. Where in page button bars will create different types of buttons like submit button, reset buttons, and other buttons should be created in the page button bar. So all the different regions are there. And at the same time, items I discussed it, we have different types of items like text box, choice boxes, and other things. So buttons like export buttons, images, a link. When you click on the link, it will navigate to other pages or what are the actions should be taken care. The links are should be that link is also an item. Okay, message checkbox, we have message choices, message LOE choices. All different types of items or different types of fields are present in these pages. So each and every field and each and everything can be explained in this course. So this is the sample page after using the different types of region and different types of items. This is how it looked like. And I just taken developed an employee student registration page. Like you can call this as the employee registration page. So this is how it looked like. This is the output of the page what we have developed recently. Yeah, and after this, we are having personalizations and extensions of the pages. So once the page is developed and it was deployed in the application, some client requirement we got, some requirement we have, like we need to change the no change the field name. So client want the gender or the field name or the first name should be displayed as the only name. I don't want to display the first name or last name. I just want to display the name or the full name. I want to change the field name. So those types of requirement can be handled in the personalization of the page. So we can personalize this page. We can personalize this page without touching the code. Without touching the code, we can do the personalizations. That's what the personalization means. And customizations, we can do the customizations. Customization is like the business or the client want to change the logic of the page. So in that case, to change the logic of the page, we need to do the customization that can be achieved by doing the extensions of the controllers, AMs, or any the requirement. Just understand the difference between the personalizations and extensions. Personalization is an Oracle provides the feasibility to change the standard behavior as personal needed. Okay, as well as the personalization is restricted to modify the user interface related object. That's a different thing. But we can using the personalization, we do not require to write any custom code. We no need to write any code. Without writing or code or a different code, we can easily do the personalizations on the pages. That's what. And coming to the extension is the process to modify the functionality as per the business requirement. Here we are going to change the actual code of the business logic. So if you achieve as per the client requirement, we are going to extend the or do the customizations on the pages. See, and the personalizations, we have different types of personalizations. Like site level we can do, organization level we can do, or any particular responsibility you need that personalizations. So for hiding any field or hiding or changing the field name, it should be displayed in only that particular responsibility. So we'll use that personalization in the responsibility level only. At the same time, we have functional level also. So these are the different types of personalizations, and each and everything will go in detail in next class. And I already said like personalizations can be come in this the requirements will be in this way. Like we can remove button on the page. We can change the prompt, the field name we can change, and we can reorder the column names. Like I shown the sample page in that we have the first page. We have the first name, last name, and the age group or something is there. So user want to display the first age and then display the name. So we can reorder the columns of the page, and we can set initial values, and we can add different types of buttons also. Coming to the extensions, we have different types of extensions. We can do view extension, control extensions, and UI extensions, as well as the AM extensions as per the client requirement. I don't know, this is the different this will explain the steps to extend the controller. So this slide will explain to do a controller, I mean to do a extension of a controller, how we can be achieved. That what this is explaining. I don't think in the demo class it will be helpful for you, but anyway, I'll go to this side. Okay, first in this page, once the page is open, you want to do a extended of a controller. There is a about this page link will be there under the page. At the bottom of the page, at the extreme left side or right side, you can see the about this page link will be there. You need to click that page and you need to get the controller details or the region details of the page. And then we, after finding out what need to be done, then we need to extend the standard CO. We need to extend the standard CO. First, before doing that, we need to identify which controller we need to modify or which region to be modified. So for that, we need to go to the about this page and we need to check out the page controller. And then we need to click on the personalization link, or how this personalization link will be enabled, and all other stuffs, and how this extended can be done can be explained in the other slides, can be explained in the actual classes. As is the demo class, and we have restricted timelines. So I'm not able to cover this. It's a very, don't worry, I will cover in the actual class. This is what, like how to extend the view. Here how to extend the controller, and here how to extend the view. So this is how OAF deployment process will be in the lengthy process. Like we'll cover in this. Like I'll show you. So in this document, like in this slide, like yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending the demo. Please share your feedback. Now contact us for queries. Any queries can be answered through email or phone number. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please share your feedback.